Now, unfortunately, if you are running leaf springs on both the front and rear axles on your rig, this video isn't going to apply to you because in this video, we're going to be comparing two different styles of suspension systems that run either coil springs or coilovers and have control arms to keep the axles in place. We'll save the leaf sprung discussion for another video. Hey, what's up guys? Josh from TrailBuilt, and quite often when I'm searching the vast amount of off-roading information on the interwebs, I seem to come across a lot of different questions that relate to short arm and long arm suspension systems. And since we have both types on trailbuiltoffroad.com, figured this would be a great opportunity to find out what the differences are between the two and why you would want to run one or the other. So make sure and smash that subscribe button so that way you guys can hold on to the ride with us. Ready? Let's go. Before we get started, if you didn't already know, we have this awesome giveaway going on right now until May 15th to win a set of 5 Method race wheels. The best way to get entered is by heading on over to our website. It's trailbuiltoffroad.com/giveaway and picking yourself up one of these awesome t-shirts. Also, a percentage of the t-shirt proceeds will be going to help out our friends over at Team RUBICON, a veteran-operated disaster relief organization that is there to help out communities in need after a natural disaster strikes. For more information on the giveaway and Team RUBICON, we'll have a link posted in the description below. All right, so let's get started. What exactly is a control arm? When we are referring to either a short arm or long arm suspension, we are referring to the length of the control arms that connect the axles to the frame. These control arms are typically either made out of some sort of alloy, whether it be aluminum or billet, or made out of steel and has either a rubber, polyurethane, or Heim joint bushing on each end of the control arm to allow the arms to pivot. In turn, allows the axles to compress upwards or drop downwards. Most commonly, each axle has 4 of these control arms to control the axle movement, hence the name control arm, or they're also referred to as links. So now that we know which suspension components we are talking about, bear in mind that we're going to be referring to the manufactured suspension systems throughout this video and won't be stepping out into the unlimited world of custom fabricated suspension systems, as there are literally an endless amount of possibilities there. And to keep this video from being an hour-long instructional video, we'll keep it simple and directly related to the suspension brands that we carry on trailbuiltoffroad.com. So the obvious difference between the two suspensions is the length of the control arm. But how does each one affect the performance and which one is going to be best for my particular needs? Well, to answer the first question, it comes right down to physics and geometry. The rule about control arm angles is that the flatter they are, the better, because the short arm suspension lift attaches to the stock control arm mount. As the axle starts to droop downwards, the control arm strays away from the horizontal plane, increasing the angle of the arm, and the downward force of gravity increases through the control arm. If the angle of the arm becomes too extreme, the force being exerted both from and onto the vehicle will become too vertical and will cause a harsh ride, poor handling characteristics, and limited suspension travel. Generally speaking, a short arm lift can handle up to about 3.5 inches of suspension lift without a notable shift in driving quality. There are many benefits to having a short arm lift over a long arm, including that they are less expensive, typically much easier to install, offers more ground clearance, and with short arm kits, there's always the option of upgrading to longer control arms in the future if you decide to do so. Long arm suspension kits are well known to be a popular upgrade, and for good reason. Placing longer control arms under your rig helps to reduce those operating angles and reduces the amount of that gravitational vertical force going through the control arms once the rig is lifted. Longer control arms will help smooth out the ride, increase the amount of suspension travel, and reduce the stress on the vehicle and its suspension components. Aside from the price tag, a downside of the long arm lifts is their tendency to hang up when crawling over large obstacles. In order to make the angle of the arm smoother, a long arm lift must attach further back on the vehicle, which takes up more space than a short arm and can create some unwanted ground clearance issues, especially when rock crawling. Another negative aspect of long arm kits is that once they have been installed, it's tough to go back. Installing a long arm lift usually means cutting off the stock brackets and welding on new brackets further back along the frame of the vehicle. Going back to a short arm lift after that is not only labor intensive, but costly as well. Also, a common misconception about longer control arms is that they automatically net you more travel. Although longer control arms may allow the suspension to cycle more freely, the shock absorber is going to be what limits the amount of vertical wheel travel at each corner. So if you have a 10-inch travel shock on your short arm kit and then moved up to a long arm kit but kept the same shocks, you're still only going to have 10 inches of travel. The exception to this rule is if the shorter control arm system bottoms out during travel and doesn't allow the shock to fully extend, of which the long arm system would. The good news with that is, with all of the long arm suspension kits we have on TrailBuilt, almost all of them have the shocks included in with the suspension kit, so you don't have to worry about figuring out what size shock or coilover is needed. However, if it is one of the few kits where it does not have the shocks included, it will either specify which shock length is recommended in the description, or our highly knowledgeable customer service team is always here to help as well. Now, to answer the question of which setup is going to be better for my particular off-roading needs, well, in general, you'll want to more than likely stick with a short arm suspension lift if you don't plan on lifting your rig more than 3.5 inches and doesn't need to be a rock crawling machine. And also, if you want to keep the initial investment cost lower on the suspension because you still have to purchase your wheel and tire package from trailbuiltoffroad.com as well. But if that isn't the case and you want a smoother ride, especially if you do a lot of go fast off-roading or you do a lot of rock crawling and need the additional wheel travel and don't plan on going back to a short arm kit, plus the budget doesn't mind either, then the long arm kit may be the better choice in your particular application. Either way, if you choose a short arm suspension lift or a long arm suspension lift, we offer both options through most of the suspension brands that we carry, like Icon Vehicle Dynamics, TERAFLEX, Rockcrawler, Superlift, Rough Country, ProComp, BDS, JKS, and that's just to name a few. I realized that we could probably continue this video for much longer on comparing short arm kits to long arm kits, but I would probably just bore you guys to death if we keep going. So if you guys have any other information you want to add or any personal experiences that you may have had with either type of suspension, just let us know in the comments below. Or even if you have any questions, let us know. Plus, we'll also have a link in the description that brings you right over to our website at trailbuiltoffroad.com to check out all of our options for suspension kits and wheel and tire options as well. So before you go, remember to smash that subscribe button and thumbs up to like the video. And as always, we appreciate all of you for watching. I'm Josh from TrailBuilt, and we'll see you guys out in the trails.